get to see you alone.
Oh, excuse me. My hand shakes though when I'm around you.
Barbara Stanwyck is undoubtedly one of the most glamorous and enduring stars of the old Hollywood age. She was arguably the hardest worker next to Joan Crawford to claw her way from nothing into a 60-year career. She starred in Double Indemnity, The Lady Eve, Ball of Fire, and The Thornbirds, your grandma's favorite TV show ever. But before I go into why Barbara Stanwyck is so awesome, let's start at the beginning. Barbara Stanwyck was born Ruby Catherine Stevens on July 16, 1907. Born into the harsh world of Brooklyn, New York, Barbara was no stranger to hardship. When she was 4, her pregnant mother died after being knocked off a streetcar. A month later, her father abandoned the family. Speaking of her upbringing, Barbara said, "I'm a tough old broad from Brooklyn. Don't try to make me into something I'm not. If you want someone to tiptoe down the Barclay staircase in crinoline and politely ask where the cattle went, get another girl." After oscillating between running away from foster homes and living with her showgirl sister, Barbara finally got her break by hustling different jobs, including being a showgirl in the famous Ziegfeld Follies show. She made it big on Broadway, married Frank Fay in 1928, and ventured out into the harsh world of Hollywood. Barbara got a rough start in the movie business, with her first few films flopping. In 1930, Frank Capra cast her in Ladies of Leisure, and from then on, it was only up. For some context, the period of 1929 to 1934 is referred to as the pre-code era, with movies of this time pushing the limits of the infamous Hays Code by featuring a lot of movies about infidelity and movies about women with healthy sex lives. The undisputed classic of pre-code is Babyface, starring our girl Barbara. The movie was hacked to pieces because of the Hays Code, and the original version excluded the amazing scene of an old man quoting, excuse my mispronunciation, Nietzsche, and telling her she needs to use men. This scene is really good, and I'll link to it below. Despite its mishandling, Babyface was a huge success, making back well over half its budget. The story is formulaic, but watching it today, one can't help but be shocked at the amount of sex there was in a movie in the 30s. Yet, Babyface was likely the nail in the coffin for pre-code Hollywood. After protests from Christian groups against movies like Babyface, Sign of the Cross, and The Story of Temple Drake, William Hays officially brought down the fist of censorship in July 1934, and pre-code Hollywood was officially over. Barbara married Frank Fay, a vaudeville veteran 15 years older than her, in 1928. Around town, Frank was known to be a sloppy drunk, and that rang true at home as well. Barbara would show up to work with bruises and allegedly suffered a spinal injury that caused her great pain for years. Even though Barbara was making thousands of dollars from movies, Frank plunged them both into debt by wasting the money on gambling. After getting beat up one last time, Barbara packed as fast as possible, took their child, and stayed at a friend's house. Barbara and Frank divorced in 1935, and their marriage allegedly inspired the 1937 movie A Star is Born. The only film Barbara starred in the rest of the 30s that is worth mentioning is Stella Dallas. Stella Dallas was her first Oscar nomination, and you know what? Arguably her best performance. It's a story of a lower-class girl who marries into the upper echelon of society and commits the ultimate maternal sacrifice for her daughter. And dang it, it made me cry. Seriously, y'all, it is the saddest movie I've ever seen. Stella Dallas was only a fraction of the success Barbara would later get in the 40s. The 40s were Barbara's prime years, and she was seriously unstoppable. 1941 brought Ball of Fire and The Lady Eve, garnering another Oscar nomination. Kind of irrelevant, but I want to shout out Lady of Burlesque, which came out in 1943 because it is a really fun movie. Barbara sings a song named Take It Off the E String, Play It on the G String, and the movie is based on a book named The G String Murders. Like, come on. In 1944, she starred in her most famous film, Double Indemnity, donning a corny wig, Barbara gave the most famous performance of her career as femme fatale Phyllis Dietrichson. Double Indemnity is now considered to be one of the best movies of all time. The rest of the 1940s brought hit after hit, including The Strange Love of Martha Ivers with Kirk Douglas, The Other Love, and Sorry Wrong Number. Babs started off the 50s with a divorce from her loser husband, Robert Taylor, after he cheated on her for the 5 millionth time. And you know what? Good for you, sis. He may have been handsome in the beginning, but he looked like a second-rate Vincent Price by the end of the marriage. Barbara didn't slow down in the 50s, starring in Clash by Night with Marilyn Monroe. Clash by Night is a wonderfully painful movie to watch, as it depicts an aging femme fatale who can't let go of her wicked ways. In my opinion, this movie would have been a perfect cap-off to playing the cliche that she was typecast as. But alas, Barbara was still playing fallen women at this point in her life, and she had played that archetype so much that she remarked, "My only problem is finding a way to play my 40th fallen female in a different way from my 39th. When her film career slowed down, she made her iconic step into television. In 1961, she starred in her own television show named The Barbara Stanwyck Show, winning an Emmy for it. The show ran for 36 episodes and was subsequently canceled. But don't worry, because you know our girl Barbara ain't done yet. From 1965 to 1969, she starred in the successful Western TV show The Big Valley. If you remember watching people on your grandma's TV shooting each other and riding horses, it was probably The Big Valley reruns. Capping off a long career of playing jealous, evil women, Barbara played a jealous, evil woman in The Thornbirds. The Thornbirds was the second highest rated TV miniseries in history, behind Roots. Barbara may have been older, but her acting certainly did not lose any of its luster. In this iconic scene that I know your mother remembers watching because your grandma forced her to, Barbara gives a stunning goodbye performance. So what is Barbara's legacy? It is one of a woman who charmed millions of people for 60 years, a woman of true glamour, and a hard-working old broad from Brooklyn. She's an icon of pre-code, post-war, and 50s cinema. She was a fighter until the end, and we will always love her for it.